Hello, everyone. It's Alex Harper. I am the founder of Women of Culture. For those who don't know me, Women of Culture is a community designed to connect, empower, and inspire women through meaningful engagement with the arts. I'm actually here today to talk about the Sisterhood of Discovery, and we're going to be talking with Cristiane, who is a previous participant. So I'm going to bring her in. It's always like a little delay, but thanks. Hi.
Hi.
It worked. Yay. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm better.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I know you've been sick, so thank you for being here. You look beautiful.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm happy to be here. I love the group. I love sharing my experiences about it. So I'm happy to be here and it uplifts me. When
Yeah.
we're sick, we always appreciate, have more gratitude for our health and being part of the beautiful things that we've, made choices to be a part of. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So I thought maybe it would be great if you wouldn't mind just like introducing yourself briefly and name, where you're from, where you live, all that.
Sure. So my name's Cristiane. I live in New York City. I moved back here about a year ago. And when I moved here, even though I want to make sure I start by saying anyone that joins this group, I think it's for anyone. It's not just someone who's moving here and looking to build relationships. I think it's for different people in different stages of their journey of seeking connections and authenticity. And those are the women that I've met in the two groups that I've already done with you, and hopefully I'll be doing a third.
Yeah.
As soon as I moved here, one of my first priorities in building my infrastructure and my new home was finding a supportive group of like-minded women, because that's what I've done in the past, and it's served me so much, and it's so life-changing once you have that as part of your life. And luckily, I found you, and I found your group. Um,
Yeah.
so that's a little bit about me.
Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing about that when I was thinking, hold on, I have like COVID brain a little bit, so I'm
No, that's okay.
going to take a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to say, like, for me in the past and in doing this, when you make that deliberate choice to say, hey, I'm going to take the time to create the space and join these kinds of communities, it's just, I can't emphasize enough, like, how life changing it is and how it, we talk about it a lot more, and it's a lot more accepted now in the culture that we're in, about getting rid of, like, maybe relationships that don't serve us and that are maybe not, I don't like using the word toxic, but just that don't serve us. So when you're like deliberate about getting to know yourself better and then being part of a group that's going to enable you to know yourself better and like-minded people, it just is life changing. So
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's you. You dove right in, so thank you. I love it. Yeah. So I guess I should preface or say that. So you've been a part of Women of Culture, and you've also done two rounds of the Sisterhood of Discovery Women's Circle. So that's sort of like what you're referencing here.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm curious. So I know you moved here from Tampa, right? So you had been here before, but then moved back, and so just to give like some context for for people,
Yeah.
and
Yes, I lived here for 5 years before, and then I was in Florida, and I've done some other lovely women's groups that, in the last 10 years, really, I decided I wanted to make this part of my life. And then, so that was in person, and then also during COVID, luckily there were some virtual groups
yeah,
that I was able to be a part of. But, having the in-person experience here with people in the city and or around the surrounding areas has been really beneficial.
yeah. 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 I mean, you referenced it a little bit, but I'm curious if there's anything else that like stood out to you about being part of specifically the Sisterhood of
Yeah.
Discovery.
Yeah, I have to put like even though I know we're talking about Sisterhood of Discovery, I have to tell people to do both because women we did I did an event that Alex plans. She's just so organized and so thoughtful about every detail. When it's women of culture, if you're looking for that, I would definitely recommend that. And then the sisterhood is a different type of experience. You go deeper, you're raw, you're more in a place where you're going to be more vulnerable if you're in that place. But I would say I was putting some thought into this about like what I could share that would maybe resonate with others. It's like twofold for me in terms of what I've really gotten and what like has stood out the most with the sisterhood group specific to what you've created. And it's just it's kind of simple, but it's very truthful. And it's you're in a group with women that you haven't met and you're gonna get to know them. And even though you kind of come to the group for different reasons, you might have different drivers, like it might be career or you're grieving or romance, whatever it is. But you all have like this common bond, like which is you're looking for human connection. And then even though you have these different drivers, like you'll see the more and more that you'll have in common, especially as experiences as women and the challenges that we face, right? And then you'll just be sitting in a maybe it's the second session or the third session and someone's sharing and they're just sharing maybe a challenge that they have and it just has resonated with me. I'm not going to talk vaguely. I'm going to talk about what I have really experienced. Like someone's just sharing an experience that they have and it resonated so much with me to the point where I feel so not alone, and then I feel so supported, and they don't even know it, right? And
Yeah.
and then we get to talk more, and you really do a good job about like going around to each person, and we get to like really, know like how things have landed with each of us.
Mhm.
So I would say it's twofold. So that's one part, and then the other part that I've experienced is, I've come into this saying, okay, I'm gonna be as hard as it is in this world. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to share an experience. Oftentimes, it's been an experience, no matter how much work I've done, that maybe I'm ashamed to share in other environments or that I don't feel comfortable sharing. And then I see that that has resonated with another member of the group who has now become a friend. And when you tell stories like that to each other, it's this like sincere, instant bond that you have, and like I use the word beautiful a lot because I just am an optimistic, happy person, but it's beautiful. It really is.
Mhm.
And it's something that when you're not in these groups and when you're alone or you're isolated or you're thinking of joining a group like that, but you just don't do it, or you're in this world where there's more of like a facade going on, you don't feel that, and in one meeting you can feel that. That's after thinking about it, that's really the experience that I cherish.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, that's so beautiful. And like you said, it really is. It's like it's sort of a simple thing, and I think sometimes we take it for granted. And like, we've all probably had friends over the years or different groups of women, but like I do think there's something that is really special about being able to hear stories from people we actually don't know that well, or like, that may not be within our direct circle, or people we might not have even met like in any normal circumstance, and relating to that person, like that stranger, and hearing yourself reflected in them and vice versa. That is really,
Exactly.
drives home that sort of connection and feeling like you're not alone. Right.
Yeah, and another thing that I have to like put in another plug for you, and Alex didn't ask me to do any of this, but I have to. I think that you do such a great job too, and again, I like to share I've been in different groups and have different experiences and all lovely in different ways. But you like I think you do such a great job of like creating this, really safe space and a natural flow. And
Mhm.
it is scary, especially, and I think you'll get from what I've seen, you'll get people that maybe this is the first time they're coming into
Yeah.
a space that they're being vulnerable, or maybe it's somebody who did it 2 years ago and they kind of got tired of it and now they're like picking up where they left off. So you get people in different stages, but you like have this ability to like bring it in and bring people together without creating a pressure, you know, because I think sometimes there might be a hesitation to join because you're like, I mean, I've even had hesitations, you know, where we're like, oh, we're going to do this in this class. And I'm like, oh, wait, I'm kind of nervous.
Yeah.
But without feeling that pressure or the push, you know, and I think the one thing I want to like really like share with people is that your ability to like really listen deeply. So sometimes I could be sharing a story and I don't know what my struggle is, or I've seen it with some of the lovely women I've met along the way. They're talking about, you know, an exercise that has prompted us to talk about a topic, and we're struggling with it and we're not really articulating it maybe in the way that we'd like to, but you have this ability to kind of go back and ask a question, not point it out, not judge it, not tell them what they should be thinking, but like just make us think about it. And not only do you do that, then you create the environment for us to do that for each other, which I think is really like the strong suit. So
Yeah.
it's great you created this, you're leading it, but then you created the ability for us to do it for one another. And I think that's where that true human connection and that true, you know, relationship building comes in, that I really appreciate.
Oh, thank you. I love that. And I think I've been thinking a lot about like what is a women's circle? It's sort of like this abstract term. And then I was looking and like researching a little bit about, the history of women's circle and how women have like gathered for centuries since like ancient times to support each other, and this like idea of something being, a circle. There's no hierarchy. And like as much as I'm like the leader or facilitator, like I want to be there to create the space for everyone to support each other. And it's not, just about me, telling people,
Yeah.
I really try to refrain from, and we do say like, to try to refrain from, like unsolicited advice and things, because we're not there to fix each other. We're there to listen. And
We're there to listen, and there's not enough of that. And
yeah.
also, and like why I feel so comfortable too is that you also share,
Mm-hmm.
you're not, you don't like, there's no hierarchy where you're like, here, I'm leading you and telling you, you know, like what you should do. You also share, and so it makes it very real, and that's real life. Like no matter how much work we've all done or created, like we're all still sometimes learning the same lessons again,
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm often learning the same lessons over and over again. And, being a facilitator of the group, like reminds me of the things that, that I'm still working on. And, I think that's what I love so much about leading it, or, facilitating, is just also I'm right along with everyone in the group. And, like,
Yeah.
we're all growing together. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Did
Yeah.
you, oh, sorry, we're going to say something?
I'm gonna take a sip of water because I'm a little
Oh,
thirsty.
yeah. Please do what you need to do. Um, do you feel like there's any sort of like key takeaways or things that you learned about yourself from either of the groups you've been a part of?
So much. So first I would say, I would encourage people. Well, first we're talking about doing one group, but I love the fact that I've done 2 groups and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully third. Like I said, I've done other women's groups, and some of them go on for longer periods, and it just depends on the dynamic and what you can give. And I think people shouldn't have. There are exercises that we do that I think are super beneficial, but again, I don't think you put this pressure of like I think you probably get off track a little bit, but I think from what I've seen, we get certain types of personalities, probably some perfectionists in there and patterns that we're all working on. But there's you're going to get what you put in, but you're not there's not this pressure to be like this is a class and we have to make sure we do it. But from had the benefit of doing the two groups, and no matter how much work I've done in the past, what always, no matter, I think in every single session that we've done, I'm always surprised, even though I know this logically, and I know that we're always growing and evolving, and that's the beautiful part of life. Um, it's just how much I'll learn a lesson again, going back to what we just said. So there might be an exercise that maybe we did in the first group, or like, I think there was a book that we read that I had read in another group. And, you know, probably that egotistical part of me was like, oh, I've already read that book.
Right.
But then I read it with a different dynamic or with a different takeaway, or it was a lesson that I've probably learned about 5 times already, but I needed to be reminded on that same day that we had a class, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there was there was one group in particular that we had that was more intergenerational, and so then having that point of view from a younger person, and then a point of view from somebody my age, or a point of view just from a totally different experience, you know.
Yeah.
It makes you, it's like when you read a book, you know, for the third time, I don't know, or watch a movie, you take something new away. So that's what's, I didn't want to say it surprised me, but it does, because
Yeah.
dang, it happened again, you know, and this is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm committing, you know, these 2 hours on this night. This is why I'm investing in myself, you know, because I still have lessons to learn, and I'm going to be saying that, you know, 5, 10 years from now, hopefully I'll be evolving, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but that's, again, I'll use the word, I think that's you know, a very beautiful part of the process.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I mean, I feel like obviously, I use a lot of similar readings and teachings that I relate to from like Elizabeth Gilbert and Glennon Doyle and Brene Brown and Julia Cameron, and draw from all of these people. And I'll have moments where I'm like, oh my God, I've read this book 20 times. I don't need to read it again, you know, like, and then I'll read a passage and I'll hear it differently, or we'll talk about it in the group and someone has a different interpretation of it. And, you know, so I think that is really beautiful because there's just,
Yeah.
you know, always an opportunity. So,
And I think for what I have experienced, and you know, some people might believe in this, might not, it might sit with it, but it might be that I just literally have experienced something personally with my own relationships, or something
mm-hmm.
I'm struggling with, and it's like I needed that passage that day.
Yeah, yeah,
Or I needed it in a different way, and it just kind of, you know, like the universe, or however you believe, for it to come together, it does, you know. and
mm-hmm.
and to me, that's just a reinforcement of why you have to just keep investing. And and I think the other main thing that I wanted to point out, I don't know if it fits here, but just in general, like, this is a process that lets you get to know yourself better. So not
Mm-hmm.
only, yes, absolutely, I love the connections. I need strong female, like-minded, different women that are going to introduce me to different ways of thinking, or people that are similar to me as well, like all of those things. But that relationship with yourself, especially when, you know, we all went through the COVID world, we're all going through challenges no matter what, you know, you and I have talked about our own personal challenges. And you know, that relationship with the self, you know, that's really what I also really value in this experience.
Yeah, I think that is, of course, like the core relationship in our lives. You know, no matter what else is going on, we're stuck with me, myself, and I, or whatever, you know, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think, yeah, everything else stems from there, right? So I think as much as I say like sisterhood, and I think a lot of times we're using the power of those relationships, of that female camaraderie, to also
Yeah.
reconnect to ourselves. And
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I tend to speak too much, so cut me off if we need to. But I think that the thing is too, it's like when you're going through you know, some personal pain with the relationships that we have in our own lives, we don't always get to choose those. And often we want those to work, and we
yeah,
everything to make those work, but we can't control other people's reactions, right?
Right.
I've also felt that, self and having that support system and empowering how you're going to react and how you're going to control.
Right.
And also, again, back to what I was saying earlier, you're deliberately choosing the people that you're going to create space for in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're choosing what you're going to take in. I truly believe like you're a product of the people you surround yourself with, of what you read, of what you spend your time doing. And so I think this is like another reason, another selling point to do it, that I think is
Yeah.
beneficial and that has helped me personally when I have struggled with, that. And I think so many in the past couple of years with difference of opinions and things, going on that we can't choose certain people in our lives, but we can certainly, you know, make some choices. And then the other thing that has been helpful is, just investing in ourselves and setting boundaries. I think we
Mm-hmm.
talked about that in a lot of our sessions, like where it's like, well, we don't necessarily want to cut off the people that maybe aren't, the people we would like them to be, but we want to set boundaries and we want to
Yeah.
still love them in certain ways. And that's been helpful as well. But that's maybe getting into the details there.
No, I think that's a good point because I think it shows also there tends to always be some commonalities and similar issues or struggles among the women in the community, even if we all have like very different professional backgrounds or even
Yeah.
different ages, like different times or stages of life. But, I think as women, there's some universal experiences, challenges, things that, a lot of us at the core, might struggle with and just to be able to know that other people are, first just know that you're not alone in those struggles and then have like a sounding board and, a bit of to hear how other people are dealing with it or, other with like ideas or just perspectives on the same sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And just on one more note related to that. So I think like these struggles and challenges and experiences that we all bond with, no matter how different we are or similar. But the other thing that I've gotten from the group that I think is excellent is it's not just also about struggles and challenges and
Right.
setting, it's also about like being our best selves, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's also what I want. I want to live like the best life I can live. When I finally figured out certain things that I was wasting a lot of time on, now I'm like, let's go for it, baby. Let's go for those streams. Let's go for, so I think the women that I've met in there too, they're trying to be the best versions of
Yeah.
themselves. So that can be everything from, being as authentic as you can to, just digging in deep and saying what makes me happy or
Mm-hmm.
not minimizing yourself, not making yourself smaller for maybe some of the patterns that you felt you had to. So that was the other takeaway. I think it also like has inspired me in many ways,
Mm-hmm.
taught me, to not taught me, but reinforce my desires to dream big.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm happy to hear that because, that's definitely one of my like secret personal missions is, within the group as much as I think, yeah, like you said, we do talk about struggles. They're like, my ideal intention is, to have women come in and reconnect to themselves and their imagination, their dreams, their deepest desires, and work towards those, and feel supported and validated in those things that we so often push down and don't we've forgotten or gotten disconnected from as adults, and to be able to really reconnect to those and feel like empowered really to even it may not happen tomorrow, but just to even have those ideas again and remember like what really lights you up and makes you happy, and just taking small little steps towards bringing more of those things into your life, I think is so powerful.
It's necessity, you know.
Yeah.
I think if you want, we have one life, you know. I mean, again, it all depends what you believe, and I'm not trying to
Yeah.
impose myself on anyone, but for right now, in this soul of this being, you know, like
Right.
surrounding yourself with women and like seeing what you're doing, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
in culture, and then with this group, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's inspiring. Just the other day, one of the women from the group that was one of my last buddies, I remember thinking like, well, what would she do in this situation? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I think of her, you know, highly. And as much as we talked about our, we've been raw and vulnerable and talked about our, you know, our thought of failures or places or things we could have done better. She also, you know, is very accomplished and
Yeah.
thought, well, what would she do in this case? You know, so
Mm.
glad to have
Oh,
it.
that's so cool. I love
Yeah,
that. I hope you tell
sure.
her. I hope you share that with her.
You know what? I'm gonna get off of this and send her a WhatsApp and tell her.
Um, well, my last question was just, and you've sort of addressed this a little bit, but just if there's anything you would say, I mean, as you know, or as I should say, we're launching the Sisterhood again on Monday, this coming Monday, July 25th, and for the first time, I'm doing it as like a drop-in series, so it's a little more casual than it's been in the past because it's summer and everyone's busy, and we're just
Yeah.
there in a casual mindset. But just if there's anything you would say to anyone that's like debating or on the fence about joining and even just dropping in for one call or all six.
It doesn't. I investing in yourself, you know,
Mhm.
what's more important, you know. I probably think like I have a son who I love very much, and that's probably like my number one priority. But even to take care of him, I have to invest in myself. So I
Mhm.
think that, you know, the financial commitment is extremely fair, especially compared to other groups that I've been in. I've told you as like I think we've become friends. Like, hey, you might want to like bring that up a little bit.
Right.
Um, so I think in investing in yourself, like, how is that ever a bad thing? You know, I
Yeah.
think especially, you know, some of us have learned the lessons before through different things. Some of us have learned these lessons through COVID,
Mhm.
but um, investing. My good friends who know me and know my like quotes that I put up and the things that I love to say. I think committing time and attention to a friend is the best gift you can give them. You know,
Mhm.
I'm a gift giver. I love like finding something that I know someone loves, and I love doing things like that. But time, attention, a phone call, a text,
Mhm.
that commitment is the best you can give to a friend. So, like, why wouldn't you give that to yourself? You know,
Mhm.
so that's that's it. And I know it's scary because I've gone through it myself, and I still go through it. You know, even
Mhm.
been for a long time. You think there's so many other more important things to do, but really, when you're doing this, like I said, in different ways, if it's addressing patterns, addressing insecurities, or being inspired to pursue your dreams, you know, this is all an investment into all those different journeys.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I love what you brought up before about, it being a safe space. And I know sometimes people feel scared. They don't feel like they want to be vulnerable or they share. And, of course, that's always optional. And I think, like, as you have experienced sometimes, if you're not feeling well or you're not like up for it
Yeah.
that night, like just listening can be very beneficial.
Yeah, that's very true. I should share that. Like I mean, even I don't, I have no idea I'm coming across right now. I'm just talking to be myself, but there are times where I'm not feeling good or I'm going through stuff and I just
Yeah.
kind of as chatty that day or I just listened, you know, or
Yeah.
maybe wanted to feel the group out more. I think, you know, there's room, this is safe for everyone, you know,
Mhm.
what you feel comfortable doing. And I've
Yeah.
never felt anything but comfortable with that. And I think anybody that I've shared that group with would probably say the same thing. And I think if they still has doubts, they should reach out to you. You're very, you know,
Yeah.
you're very direct, you're very honest, very like
Yeah.
heartfelt when you speak, you speak from the heart. So
Yeah.
that's my advice. But invest in yourself all day long because life is short.
Yeah, I know. It's like our most prized possession, right? Our own happiness. And, I feel like we have a responsibility to ourselves and to the world around us to invest in that. And, we make the world a better place when we're happy people. So I think
Yeah.
that's,
The world needs that. The world needs more of that.
yeah, totally. Um, Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here and everything that you shared. And just, I'm so grateful for you and grateful for having you as a part of this, as a woman of culture and the sisterhood. So, really, really want to thank you so much. And I hope you feel better too.
No, I'm getting there. I'm feeling better, but and this has helped me. But yeah, I'm so glad our paths have crossed and I've gotten to be a part of this with you. And I look forward to many more experiences in the future. So yeah,
Yay. Thank you. Like, give you a little heart.
a little dark, but it's the COVID thing.
All good.
Just
All right.
with you
Have a great day.
too.
Bye.